Let's start.
What's it 68?
Can we start? Vasudevasutam devam kapshacharuramadanam devaki paramanandam krishnam vande jagadguru guru brahma guru vishnu guru devo maheshwara guru sakshat parabrahma tasmai shri gurave namah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, let's start with chapter 15. Let it turn off the heat. That's okay. You guys ready? Let's leave it at 70. तेरी बुक है? श्री भगवानुवाच ऊर्ध्वमूलमधशाखा अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययं छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित् अधश्चूर्धपसुतस्तस्य शाखा गुणा प्रवृद्धा विषया प्रबाला अधश्च मूलाननुसन्ततानि कर्माणुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके नानुपमस्येत् तथो प्रलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सविभूतमूलम् असर्वशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गतव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूय त्वमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्ति प्रसृता पुराणे निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोष आध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञे गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदमव्ययं न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावक यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धामं जीवलोके जीवभूतसनातन मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यद्वाप्नोति यच्चाप्यत्युपदेश्वर गृहीत्वेतानि न याति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयत् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चाय विषयानुपसेवते गुणावितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषा यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मन्यव्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतमानो नैनं पश्यन्त्यचेतसः यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयतेऽखिलं यच्चैनमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकं गामावेश्य न भूतानि धारयाम्यहमजुमोजसा पुष्पाणि चौषधी सर्वं सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मना अहं वैश्वो नरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्त पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधम् सर्वस्य चाहं
सन्निविष्टो माता सुज्ञानपोहनं च
वेदैश्च
सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहं
त्वाविमो पुरुषो लोके क्षरक्षाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थं क्षरमुच्यते उत्तमं पुरुषस्त्वेन
स्मरणात्मेतुदाहता यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य विवर्तव्य ईश्वर यस्माच्चरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमम् अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रथितः पुरुषोत्तमः यो मामेवं सम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद्यजाति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतं शास्त्रम् इदं मुक्तं मया नघ एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमाश्च कृतकृत्यश्च भारत ओम तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्ण अर्जुन संवादे पुरुषोत्तम योगो नाम पंचदशोऽध्यायः. Coming back to our chapter 8. So the whole chapter is now emphasizing in how to leave the body at the time of death, what we should be doing, what we should be preparing ourselves to be at that point, right? So we always talk about, like, I in the class previously we spoke about that how we have to be prepared to get to that point where whatever we are learning here, we can do that. If you don't do that every day, there is no way that at the time of most pressurable time, at the time when you are in most anxiety, how will do these things? How will you remember to do these things? What God is teaching us here, right? So a quick story I remember Dadaji told in couple weeks ago. He said that a guy was sitting on the terrace with the friends, and they were just talking, normal gossiping, talking. Then a voice came from down. His name was Krishna Das. So the voice came from downstairs, Krishna Das, Krishna Das. He just kept talking. So the other guy said, I hear somebody calling you. Do you not want to attend this person who is calling you from downstairs? And he said that, no, I don't know this voice, so I don't have to. Even there is Krishna Das that lives down the street also. They might be calling them. So we don't react to the people whom we don't know. In this case, he didn't react to the voice that was not coming from a familiar voice, right? So he didn't even got up to look at who this person was, because he already assumed that I don't know this person. He's not coming for me. There is another Krishna Das that's down the street, so he's going to that. So now think about that. When you call for God, if God never heard your voice before, and at the time of stress, at the time of pressure only you call, God is not familiar with your voice, why would he react? When we don't even react to unknown voice, why would God react to the calling of ours when he is not aware of us calling in normal days, right? So the story, the meaning of the story is we have to do this every single day to remember these things, so that the time of need, when we call God, he doesn't feel like, okay, or I don't even know this person. Why would I go to help this person when I don't even know? So that's one big thing take out from this chapter. If you any one take out we want to take, it is, we have to do this every day, that at the time when it is the most crucial time of our life, most, I would say, scariest time of our life. We don't know how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. It's very unknown. We have no way, for the exams we know it's coming, right? For the job interviews we know it's coming. We can prepare for it, right? But for this moment, it can be any time, any part of our life. It's not fixed, right? So it could happen anytime. We might not even have a time of preparing, right? It might come so it might come so sporadic that we will not even know that it's coming, right? And it will come. So at that time, when God is saying that, oh, surrender to me, meditate on me, say Om, when will we remember those things, right? So if we are not doing that meditation every single day, and there is a process given, right? How the energy that we spoke about, that 7 energy centers, right? So in this chapter we will learn, like in the next couple slokas, that how he is saying to move the energy at the time of death, where it should go. It should go from the heart to throat to middle of the eye to here. So how will we do the energy when we don't even know where the energy is, how to do it? So this part we will not get it until we don't do every day. So if this is what we come out, I was telling you guys I haven't done it. I started doing after we are studying this chapter, to see that if I can feel the energy also, if I can bring that life breath that Krishna Bhagavan is talking here, that I can even realize that it's in my this part of chakra or this part of chakra, or I'm right here, or I can bring it here, or I can even bring it in the heart, right? So that practice we should do it, because as the death is unknown, we don't know even if it tomorrow comes, are we ready? I'm not ready, right? So are we ready to do these things where God is saying that, surrender it to me at the end of the time and do that. So when we did 9th and 10th, 11th and 12th last time, but a little bit, just going back to see, because the 10th shlok is where he says about what should be doing, right? So then it says that having by the power of yoga firmly held the life breath in the space between the 2 eyebrows, even at the time of death, and then contemplating on God with a steadfast mind, full of devotion, he reaches verily that supreme divine Purusha, which is God. So bringing that energy between this, and then steadfast your mind, concentrate your mind into God, right? And that can only come with yoga, what he's saying is, and then you get to that divine Purusha, which is divine Purusha is God. That's what he was saying in 10th shlok, right? Then in 11th, we already did that also. He says, I shall tell you briefly about that supreme goal, which is God, who is an embodiment of truth, knowledge and bliss, Sat Chitanand, which is knower of Veda terms as the impermeable, which striving recalls, free from passion, merge into, and desiring which the celibates practice brahmacharya. So he's talking about this. What is the God that we are talking about here, right? What God you have to surrender it? It's not it's very easy to get confused until we don't study deeper these meanings, because he's talking about which is impermissible, right? The God that is impermissible. So he's talking about the Brahman, right? That's what you have to concentrate on at the time of death. He's not talking about anything, like he's not talking about think about me. But here is the thing, we have to make sure that we understand it properly, is because if you are a bhakti yogi, right, then you would think about your Ishtadevta, whoever that Ishtadevta is, right? You can surrender yourself in that, right? If you are emphasized towards Gyan Yoga, you will talk about Brahman, that is imperishable, which is omnipresent, omniscient, or Saguna Bhagwan, whichever you feel close connected to. That's where you have to bring that. He's saying that the God who is knower of all the Vedas. So again, this is where he comes at Saguna Bhagwan. So whichever God you, Saguna Bhagwan, Nirguna Bhagwan, Brahman, whatever you feel connected to, that's what you have to contemplate at the time of death, right? Then he talks about then in the 12th he talks about having controlled all the senses and firmly holding the mind in the heart, and then drawing the life breath to the head, and thus remaining steadfast in yoga concentration on God, he who leaves the body and departs, uttering the one indestructible Brahman, Om, and dwelling on me in my absolute aspect, reaches the supreme goal. Very easily, right? So bring your living breath or energy, what they are saying, the energy, to the heart, your heart chakra first, right? Then heart chakra, you take it to the throat chakra that we talk about here, right? So heart chakra, throat chakra, between the eyebrows, and then if somebody is really good in practicing this, they will take the energy to here, and then it comes out, the energy, the life breath or life energy comes out from here and leave the body, right? So that's the way the process should be when at the time of death. Like there are many yogis who were able to do this, right? Who practice every single time. They were able to do it. For us, it's going to be very hard to even think about what he is talking, right? We cannot even understand, right? But if you close your eyes and concentrate, you can feel that energy. You can feel like that Brahman or the God that is in ourself, we can bring it to the center of our heart. Then you can raise them to the throat chakra. Then you can raise them to the middle of the eye. And then you can raise it to here, which, again, needs practice. So this is the route that he is talking about, and uttering the name of God, which is like, he's saying indestructible Om. So just saying Om at the time of death, that's what is going to take you to the next level. And it says that dwelling on me in my absolute aspect, right? Think about that. It's not saying dwelling on me on any different kind of aspect. It's like, absolute aspect, which is absolute truth, is that everything is Brahman, right? So that aspect reaches the supreme goal. So this is the goal that we should be keeping up, that at the time of death we were able to do all these things and reach to the supreme goal, right? Okay. So I wanted to, this was 12th and 13th together. Let's talk about, let's read both the shloks first, and then we'll go on 14th. So can we read the 12th and 12th first and then 13th? Which one are you taking? Who's taking which one?
Let's start. Sarvadvarani Sanyamya
Sarvadvarani samyamya
Manohriddhi Niruddhya cha
Manovriddhi niruddhya cha
Murdhyadhyatmana pranam
Murdhyadhyatmana pranam
Astito yogadharanam
Astito yogadharanam. Together. Sarvadvarani samyamya Manovriddhi niruddhya cha Murdhyatmana pranam Stito yogadharanam. You're taking the words?
Sarvadvarani, all the doors of the body, Samyamya controlling, Mana the mind, Vriddhi in the heart, Niruddhya confining, Cha also Vriddhini on the head, Adaya affixing, Atman on the soul, Prana the life air, Astita situated in, Yogadharana the yogic situation.
So he's saying controlling of all the senses too. Remember this thing, right? So it's very easy to go your senses to the things that you have done in the life, right? So thinking about whatever you emphasize on, right? So if somebody says like right now, if let's say if tomorrow I die, my emphasis would be like, oh, okay, how are you guys doing, right? Are you you got everything, or I have to give it to you guys? So my mind will dwell into, rather than dwelling into God, where it will dwell, because I have focused so much into like, did I give everything, did I do my duties as mother to you guys, did I do all my duties as a daughter to my parents? So that was more emphasis of the life than anything else. So where will my mind will dwell? In this. So I have to take that dwelling out at the time of death and concentrate on God, right? So that power you should have at that time, that you can stop what you have done all your life and focus on God, or focus on meditating at that time, right? So he's saying that all the doors of your body should be open for just God, nothing else, right? So we always say there are 9 doors in our body, right? So all these doors, and even the 5 senses and everything, we capture them and we only focus it on God rather than any other desires or any other concentration or any other things that we can concentrate on. So that's a biggest thing that we have to do at the time of death, right? Okay, let's read the 13th shloka.
Om Nityekasharam Brahma
Om Nityekasharam Brahma
Vyaharan Mam Anushmaran
Vyaharan Mam Anushmaran
Ya Prayati Tyajat Deham
Ya Prayati Tyajat Deham
Sayati Paramam Gati
Sayati Paramam Gatim. Om Nityekaksharam Brahma
Vyaharam
Mamanusmaran Yati Tyajan Dehim Sayati Paramam Gatim. The words.
Om, the combination of letters Omkara, Iti, thus, Eka Akshar, the one syllable, Brahma, absolute, Vyahar, vibrating, Bam, B, Krishna. Anushmaran, remembering, Ya, anyone who, Prayati, leaves, Yajan, quitting, Deham, this body, Sa, he, Yati, achieves, Paramam, the supreme, Gatim, destination.
Yeah. So that person get the destination, supreme goal, who say Omkara, the word, the syllable, the Om, and leave this and concentrating on Brahma and leave this body with that sense, then that person get the Parama Gatim. Paramam Gatim means the supreme, Paramam supreme, and Gatim means leaving, reach there, right? So that's where you reach when you do leave the body with that senses, right? So if we compile that all together, what happens is, first of all, you should be ready to meditate at that time. And meditate on who? Anyone that you have prayed all your life, right? Brahman or whatever the Krishna, Shiva, Brahman, anything that we prayed all our lives. So we should be ready to meditate them. Then the energy force should be on the upper side of your body. Bring it to your heart, take it to the throat, take it in middle of your eyes, and then take it from here. And also saying Om. So that's the whole process of leaving the body. So at the time of death, we should be doing that. Right? So there is people who are what do you say, that there are many different kind of muktis, right? There are already enlightened people, right? They also leave the body and go. The regular person also leave the body and go, right? Sometimes you are a seeker who is not fully enlightened, right? And still they are leaving the body. With this way, they still get the enlightenment. This is like after, at the time of death, right? So some people are already enlightened and they live enlightened life. But the person who follows this, if he has not been enlightened at the whole time when he was being a seeker, but at the time of death, if they do this, then they get enlightenment at the time of death, right? So again, there is another last process, last chance to be enlightened is at the time of death when you do that. Follow this. Okay, let's get to shlok number 14. Different people live their body differently. Like, if you see a bhakt leaving the body, and it is very much given, like, a jnani leaving the body, like who is focused on jnana yoga, he leaving the body, you will see the difference in how they leave the body. So it's very good example given in Ramakrishna Paramhansa's devotees. So Vivekanand was more of Jnana Yogi, where Brahmanand was more of Swami Brahmanand, who was the first president of Ramakrishna Mission. He was more of Bhakti Yogi, right? When he died, there is explanation of given all the people at the time of death, how they were, right? So Vivekanand Swami was meditating, and he says, don't disturb me. And then he called one of the followers, and then he just laid down in the bed and left the body like that, right? When Brahmanand was leaving the body, he was seeing Ramakrishna everywhere. So that's the Bhakti Yogi, right? He was seeing Ramakrishna in every single person who was around there. So he was feeling that Ramakrishna came to pick him up. So that is the Bhakti Yogi. Like, so dying that way is not wrong either. Dying with meditation, with this process, what Krishna Bhagavan is given, is also a process. But also the Bhakti Yogi who dies when he is surrendered to God, he will see everywhere the God, and then he leaves the body. That is again a way of leaving the body. right? When he says surrender, dwelling on me, that means the bhakti yogi comes, right? If you don't dwell on Brahman and you don't see one everywhere Brahman, that's okay too. But if you see your Saguna Bhagavan also as a bhakti yogi, that is also a way of dying, right? So that's it's not wrong. No, both the processes are, nothing is wrong or nothing is absolute. You can pick any process while doing. Like if you haven't meditated, you will not meditate. But if you have surrender, then you would have surrender at the time of death, right? That's okay. You ready for the 13th? Start. 14th, yeah.
Ananya Cheta Satatam
Ananya Cheta Satatam
Yo Mam Smarati Nityasha
Yo Mam Smarati Nityasha
Tasyaham Sulabha Partha
Tasyaham Sulabha Partha
Nityayuktasya Yoginaha
Nityayuktasya Yoginaha. Together. Ananya Cheta Satatam Yo Mam Smarati Nityasha Tasyaham Sulabha Partha Nityayuktasya Yoginaha.
Ananya Cheta, without deviation of the mind. Satatam, always. Ya, anyone who. Mam, Krishna. Smarati, remembers. Nityasha, regularly. Tasya, to him. Aham, I am. Sulabdha, very easy to achieve. Partha, O Sadaprata. Nitya, regularly. Yuktasya, engage. Yogina, for the devotee.
No. Very simple, right? So it says that those who ever, always and constantly think of me with undivided mind, to that person I am easily attainable, who is observed in me. So the art of dying in this is surrender to God. I just hear one thing, it was a really nice way to put in Gita. What Krishna did is, Krishna, when Arjun started, he was in the mindset of everyday challenges, right? He was in the mindset of this challenge, challenge coming in his life of fighting with the family, fighting with the people who are his own family. So it starts with the challenge. And what if you just took one sentence out of the whole Gita, it will be like, from challenge, Krishna Bhagavan bring Arjun to the point of surrender, right? From going to challenge to surrender everything to God or surrender everything to Brahman. So it's going from challenge to surrender. That's it. So if you surrender everything, every action to God, everything to God or everything to Brahman, or surrender everything, anything that you think, your action, your thoughts, that to God, that's what Krishna Bhagavan is telling here. So at the time of death also you surrender to God, right? So whoever does this, constantly think about Krishna or constantly think about their Ishta Devta, at the time of death, he is easily being attained, and then you get to the Param Gatim, matlab Param Gatim, to supreme goal, right? Okay. I have in this, I think we can go to 15. You ready, Raja? Let's do 15.
Mamupetya punarjanma
Mamupetya punarjanma
dukkha layham ashashvatam
Dukkhalayam ashashvatam
Nabduvanti Mahatmana
Napnuvanti mahatmana
Samsiddhi paramam gata.
samsiddhim paramam gata mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayama ashvashat napyunti mahatmanam samsiddhim paramam gata. Words, right?
Man be upetya achieving Puna again, Janma birth, Dukkha alaya, place of miseries, Ashashvatam temporary, Ja never, Abnuvanti attain, Maha Atmana the great soul, Samsiddhi perfection, Paramam ultimate Gataha having achieved.
Okay. Great souls who have attained the highest perfection, having coming to me, are no more subject to transitory rebirth, which is abode of sorrow and transient by nature. So what he is saying, the great souls who have achieved these things, what he's saying, like at the time of the death, they can meditate, they can say Om, they can move the energy as they wanted to on their wish. That person is never come back to rebirth. So the birth, coming and going of the birth cycle stops, and they never come back to this place of sorrow, right? He says dukkhalaya, right? House of sorrows. So this person never comes back in house of sorrows. And where does he get? He attained the highest glory and perfection, param gatam, right? So they achieve the highest, again the supreme goal or supreme self. Now here it says that dukkhalaya. Why is this dukkhalaya? He says dukkhalaya means house of sorrow. Why is this place known as house of sorrow? Is it always sorrow? It's not, right? But it is saying is a house of sorrow, dukkhalaya, because it is ashashvata. Ashashvata means it's impermanent. Everything is impermanent here, right? So then you come to the life of impermanency in this life, in the life when on the earth when you come, it's everything is impermanent. That's why it is house of sorrow. Now there are people, enlightened people come here also. For them, it's not life of sorrows. It's not house of sorrows. Why? Because they know it's impermanent, right? We know it's impermanent, but we always want to take it as this is permanent, right? We always take it as a permanent thing, but it is impermanent. That's why we are sad, right? As soon as we know that everything is impermanent, the sorrow is impermanent, the happiness is impermanent. If we get to know that, then this house doesn't become sorrow, but it becomes sorrow because we are not agreeing to that part, right? So he's saying that great souls achieve it. They never take a birth again. Now, lot of incarnation happens which take a birth, right? A lot of enlightened people are also here on this earth. What about them? What, do they not take the rebirth? They, Krishna Bhagavan has, Vishnu Bhagavan has so many incarnations. Why did he came to this house of sorrow? If this is house of sorrow, right? How does these all teachers come back, right? How do they come back? They come back on their own wish, right? With a purpose, right? A few days ago, you would say, one of you were saying that, I wish we know what is the purpose of our life to begin with, right? This is the purpose of our life and we can just move and do that. For us, we don't even know the purpose of life. Why we don't know? Because we are not at that level of enlightenment that we can know what is our purpose of life. We have to struggle to find it, right? We have to struggle. But these people who are enlightened, when they come back to this life, to earth, they come with a purpose. They have to do something, again, teach somebody, or realization, to spread that energy to all the other people. That's why they come back. So they come with a purpose. We come without knowing the purpose, right? So if when he says that they never get a rebirth, it's not about it, it's about the never get a rebirth on base of your karma. They get the rebirth on the base of the purpose in life, right? So that's the difference between enlightened people and a regular person, right? So when regular person dies, he take rebirth on base of their karmas. What karma you did good karma, you get to come with a good what do you say, sanskara, and you live a good life because you did the good karma. Then those karmas are exhausted, then new karma starts in, right? Kicks in. What you did now, that's how the life will go, right? But these guys who are enlightened, when they come back, they don't come back on the base of karmas. They come back on the base of the purpose. They have a purpose to do. They have a purpose to change the world, change the society, serve the society, do the service, do the teaching part of it. So that's why they come. So Dukhalaya is not for those people. Dukhalaya is the people who are still thinking this is permanent and they are here to stay forever, live forever, earn forever. Those for people, there's a Dukhalaya. And then he says that you don't get the rebirth if you leave the body like this, right? Because you achieve the supreme goal, you achieve the God, so you don't get the rebirth again. Okay, let's do the 16th. He also, Ram Sukhdev ji actually mentioned that when you, people who live for themselves, that's when the sorrow comes. That's what he says. If they use the world, the action, and the thought for all themselves, then this life becomes house of sorrow, right? If you are doing for somebody else, the action, the thought is also not for yourself. The thought that comes is for other people. The thoughts, the action that you take for other people, the things that you use is for others, something other. For that person, this life is not for sorrow, right? Think about it. When you do something for other people, what happiness do you feel? When you do something, anything for other people, don't you feel so good inside you, right? You feel such a pleasure, don't you?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
When you do things for other people, you feel better than the same thing if you would have done for yourself. You buy clothes, you buy, let's say, shoes, you feel good. But when you buy it for somebody else who is in need, when you give it to somebody else who is in need, you feel more happier than you feel it for yourself. Isn't that feeling correct feeling, right? So when the person live for other, then the life doesn't become a house of sorrow. But when you keep living for yourself, then the life becomes gift. So now, if I do it for you and I feel happy, I'm still doing it for myself, right? Because I'm doing it for the happiness of myself. Right? If my kids get something, they are happy, then I'm happy too. So then the relativity is, I'm still doing it for myself, right? Because I feel happy by making you feel happy. But when you do it for somebody else, whom happiness doesn't impact you much, and still you do it for somebody else, with that, then you become happy. You will see that happiness is very different than doing it for yourself, that part, right? So think about that also. Don't just feel happy because you did the work for me or work for somebody that will make you happy because you did it for this person and this person is happy. Think about it, giving it to somebody whose happiness doesn't make or break your life, right? But still you did it for that person. That happiness is way different than doing it for your own people or for your own self, right? So keep that in mind. So when these person do that, they can come anytime they want in this life. They can do things for other people and they live life and they leave, right? So that's the best life. If you can get to that level where you become that person, then you did you have what do you say? You have done your purpose well of your life. Okay? If you don't get to that point, that's where you are still struggling, or you are still seeker. Like, even if you don't do prayers or you don't die this way, but if you have served others, God will come and pick you up without you doing all these things. Right? So think about it too in different ways also. Like, these are the way also, but then if you serve others for no purpose of your own happiness, if you serve others with making other people happy, then God will automatically come and pick you up and take you to his abode. You don't even have to go through the meditation or the energy driving here or there and saying Om and pulling it out. You don't have to do that. Right? Okay. We have still time. Can we do one more? Okay. Let's do, what did we do? 15th, right? Let's do 16th. Can you do it?
Brahma Bhuvana Loka.
Brahma Bhuvana Loka. Punarvartinorjuna.
Mamupetya tu Kaunteya.
Punarjanma na vidyate. Brahma Bhuvana Loka. Punaravartinorjuna. Mamupetya tu Kaunteya. Punarjanma na vidyate.
Brahma Bhuvana up to the Brahma Loka planet, Loka the planetary system, Puna again, Avartina returning, Arjuna, O Arjuna, Mam unto me, Opetya arriving, Tu but Odeya son of Kunti, Punarjanma rebirth, never Vidyate takes place.
Okay. So he's saying, Arjuna, all the worlds of Brahma, from Brahmaloka, the heavenly realm of the creator Brahma, downwards are liable to birth and rebirth. But O son of Kunti, on attaining me, there is no rebirth, from while I am beyond the time religion like Brahmaloka, being conditioned by time and transitory. So what he is saying, that from all the lokas you go, even if you go to heaven, after a little while, when all the good karmas are exhausted, you are dropped down back to earth or loka below earth, right? The patal loka and stuff like that. So all the lokas are coming and going back. There is always a process of rebirth. So if you do good karma, let's say if you do good karmas and stuff like that, you go to heaven, live in the happiness for a little while until the karmas are exhausted and you are dropped down back, right? So all the other lokas are transitories. But when you come to Brahma Loka, which is the God's Loka, which is the highest Loka, then you don't come down back. So there is no process of rebirth again. So if you do go, you remember I long time ago I taught you 7 lokas. There are 3 bottom from the earth and then 3 from the top after the earth. So if you go from earth to heaven, it's the first loka, but then you come back down, because after you exhaust all your good karmas, you come down back, right? Then another abode comes. Then the top one is Brahmaloka, where whatever you learn here, like let's say your spiritual process journey is not completed on the earth, but if you get to the point where God comes and picks you up, he takes you to Brahmaloka. Then your spiritual journey keeps going where it was, and then if you have leftover, like little bit, then you don't come back. In Brahmaloka, you learn further and then you stay there. In in closeness to God, right? All the other lokas are where you go for a little time, temporary, and you come back to the house of sorrow. So there is birth and rebirth again. Even if you go to Patal Loka, you stay there, all your bad karmas are exhausted, you come back to the earth. And then you take the rebirth. And then you start doing the process all over again. So it keeps rotating. So that's what God is saying here, is all the other lokas, wherever you reach, you're going to go and come back. But if you go to the Brahma Loka, then you don't come back. You stay there with God, or merge in God, or attend the God, and then you stay there. So there is only one way ticket to Brahma Loka, but all the others are, you have to take the return ticket, so you come back. Okay, let's close it now. So we are leaving at slok number 16. Okay, so we have these are very simple shloks, because it's like God is just telling directly what to do. It's a process, right? So you get to know the process, and that's about it. So it's easier to understand these shloks, right? It's easier. Okay, let's do. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamshacharuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Krishna Paramastu. Okay guys, thank you.